Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Tejashwi Yadav has been in the news recently. He's held rallies which seem to be getting frenzied responses, rattling the JDU-BJP combine a little bit. Well, Tejashwi Yadav has many burdens in his political career. Of course, living up to his father Lalu Prasad's electoral and political legacy, the kind of electoral and political run his father had, the successes his father had is one of them. To be able to establish the same people connect and have the same oratory skills as his father is another. But Tejashwi's biggest political burden or biggest political challenge will be to live up to Lalu Prasad's secularism legacy. Let me tell you why I say this. Most regional parties in India have at some point or the other had some truck with the BJP for political convenience or for political compulsions. Lalu Prasad is among that rare breed of politicians who have never ever been on the same side as the BJP or its ecosystem. The other party, of course, being the Samajwadi Party. Look at the kind of politics we've seen in India. Look at parties from the north to the south, from the west to the east, and so many parties have come with the BJP at some point or the other. In the south, the AIA-DMK and the DMK of Tamil Nadu have both at some point or the other been with the Bharatiya Janata Party. In fact, it was Tamil Nadu that really helped Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government survive in both 1998 and 1999. First backed by AIA-DMK and then backed by DMK. Move a little further up north and you see that in Andhra Pradesh, Chandrababu Naidu has been with the BJP. In Telangana, we've seen how the TRS has flirted and has had friendly relations with the BJP. Jagan Mohan Reddy in Andhra is another leader who has had good relations with the BJP, even if they have not really formally allied at any point. In the north, in Kashmir, both the PDP and the National Conference have been BJP allies in the past. They have, of course, parted ways acrimoniously later, but they have been allies. In Maharashtra, in the west, the Shiv Sena has been a BJP ally. Don't forget that even Sharad Yadav's NCP had supported BJP from outside at some point. In the east, you have the Ahom Gana Parishad in Assam, which continues to be a BJP ally. Interestingly, Mamata Banerjee, who at this point seems to be a sworn enemy of the Narendra Modi Amit Shah led BJP, has also been part of the NDA in the past. In Bihar, which is Lalu Prasad's home state, we've had Nitish Kumar, who currently is of course still a BJP ally, LJP, who have allied with the BJP. So what makes Lalu Prasad so different, besides of course his other political legacy, is his steadfast commitment to the idea of secularism and his aggressive stance against Hindutva politics, against the politics of majoritarianism. You know, when we talk about secularism, it isn't just about allying with the BJP. It is also about the kind of politics parties practice. The Congress, for instance, of course, is BJP's main rival, main opposition, but it has flirted with soft Hindutva for decades. Whether it was Rajiv Gandhi's Shilanyas in 1989 or Rahul Gandhi's Janehu Dhari Brahmin declaration in 2017 before the Gujarat elections, the Congress has consistently flirted with soft Hindutva, particularly to counter, or what it believes would be an effective way to counter, the rise of Hindutva politics in the form of BJP. Lalu Prasad, however, has never given in to that. In 1990, when Advani, LK Advani, who was then the president of the BJP, was carrying out the Rath Yatra, it was only Lalu Prasad who dared to stop him and did not let him enter Bihar. That has been the kind of secular credentials that Lalu Prasad has stood for. He hasn't been afraid of the kind of backlash it might get electorally. He hasn't been afraid of the kind of backlash it might get among Hindu voters, and he has always believed in this particular theme. Tejashwi Yadav so far has been playing it safe. When the Ayodhya verdict came out, when the Supreme Court paved the way for the construction of the temple at the disputed site, Tejashwi Yadav in fact welcomed it. He did not criticize it, he welcomed the move in a very un-Lalu-like tweet that he put out. in the recent special court judgment which acquitted all the accused in the Babri Masjid demolition case, Tejashwi Yadav has maintained complete silence, much like other opposition leaders who obviously don't want to antagonize and annoy the Hindu voter. So in that sense, so far Tejashwi has not proved to be an effective opposition in taking on or countering the politics of Hindutva. Like all other parties at this point, he seems to be playing it safe, although he has done well for himself by making jobs the central theme of this Bihar election, by taking the conversation away from religion or from communalism. So essentially, while it's important for him to be able to keep the RJD, the Rashtriya Janata Dal, afloat, a party that his father founded, to ensure that his party does at some point, if not in this election, then the next, comes to power in Bihar, a state that his father and then later his mother ruled for so many years, and to keep the carefully crafted caste coalition that his father formed. All of these are challenges for the young Tejashwi Yadav, but as I said, the big challenge for him is keeping the idea of secularism that his father has stood by alive. That at this point is a gaping hole in Indian politics, with Lalu out of active politics. There is a need for a politician like Lalu, there is a need for a party like RJD, which will not succumb to the BJP, or which will not succumb to the idea of Hindutva and to flirting with soft Hindutva for electoral gains. And Tejashwi's challenge is to ensure he is the one that plugs this gap. For more, log on to our website, ThePrint.in, to read my column, Politics.